Good evening and welcome to the SHAC. My name is Barbara Gray. It's 7 o'clock in the evening on Thursday, and darling Jane is in the room with me this evening. So my hope is that a few of you will rock up and we can do a little bit of doodling together. We're on the letter W, and I've been scrambling to get ready, unfortunately. Sorry about that. I've had a great day. I actually had a day off today, which was quite good. And I shall show you what I got up to. Now, where did I put that book? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, I've had a great day, actually. Come on in. It's good to have your company. Jane, is the sound okay? Main thing. I've got some doodling to do with you. And I've got a cup of tea that Dave's just brought me. And I've got some pottery to show you what I've been up to. I thought you might be interested in a couple of the processes. You know, sometimes when you see finished pieces, I think it's quite interesting. Thanks, Jane. It's quite interesting to know how you arrive at certain things. You know, there is a I often watch potters on YouTube, and I'm fascinated to see how they arrive at their beautiful pieces. It's all well and good seeing the finished product, but I think it's, for me personally, I want to know about the process. You know, come on in. It's good to have your company. I think a lot of us makers, we're more interested in the process even than the finished result. You know, I am certainly one of those people. I love to know. God, I nearly knocked it all over me, little process here. I love to know how things get made. You know, what was done to get that effect, and what if you did that? What would you get if you did that? You know, come on in. It's great to have your company. And have you had a good day? Have you had a good day? I think sometimes it's just important to step away from the plate, so to speak, you know, to step away from what you do every day and do something different. Apart from anything else, you know, for me today, I did a load of pottery, and it just, everything seems to take such a long time. And I'm not impatient around it. I know these things take a long time. And once you settle into that and you accept that it takes as long as it takes, it's all right then. You know, I just enjoy it. I enjoy it for what it is. And the other thing, of course, about pottery, it's like a lot of art. You can't control the outcome. You don't really know what you're going to get. You know, lots of variables. Even tried and tested recipes, if you like. You know, my biggest downfall, and I have to correct this, I'm going to have to change this. For the last few years, I've not written much down when I do my pottery. You know, I've written a few notes down for measurements and that. But, you know, I find often I can go back to my photos, though. My phone is a great source of reference for me because I take loads of pictures of the different stages. You know, that does help me. But I really ought to keep a proper process diary, you know. I'm sure you know exactly what I mean, don't you? Yesterday, we did it was the second live session for our 1, 2, 3 online course for stamping and landscapes. It went really well. I felt, you know when you've done a good job, you know, you do know, don't you? And God, these glasses are filthy. And I knew. I mean, it took a bit longer than it should have, but you know, once again, if you're going to do it properly, you know, good things can't be rushed, can they? And I wanted to make sure that the lesson was delivered right, you know. So if it takes a bit longer, it takes a bit longer. There's no race, is there? It's not like sort of telly or anything like that. So yeah, it went really well. And let me tell you what happened at the end, right? So this is, I said, right, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure having your company. See you next week. Bye-bye. And then I switched everything off after 3.5 hours, I might add. And then I went to take my microphone off, at which point I realized I hadn't had it on. I hadn't put my microphone on for the entire thing. And I thought, somebody would have told me, somebody surely would have told me that they couldn't hear me. And because I had Jim in the other room, he's the technician. And I didn't realize I didn't have a microphone on until I went to take it off. Oh my God. It was sitting on the counter next to me the whole time. And the truth of the matter is I was scrambling beforehand, because really scrambling. Right at the last minute, I went to look for something. And then I went live and I forgot to put the blooming, that's the first time in 20 years that's happened, I can tell you. And, but what was funny was Jim came in and he said, I knew immediately, because I could tell you didn't have your little black thing on. And he said, but the thing was, these really good mics that we've got, they kind of amplified, right? So he said it was fine. He said, and I didn't want to come in. He said, I weighed up whether to come in and completely throw you off course, literally, or just let you get on with it. So he took the executive decision to let me get on with it. And he said, I just waited. And I thought, any minute now, if she slams something on top of the microphone, I'm going to have to go in and interrupt her. But there you go. So nobody even knew. You see, we heard you fine yesterday, Barbara. I know. Poor old Jim, he was sitting on the edge of his seat the whole time thinking, any minute now, she's going to put something down on top. He said, I could see it. I could see it. So, because I said, well, in that case, why do I have to wear a microphone? If you can hear me that well, why have I got this thing attached to my waist and up through my bra and whatever? He goes, oh, it's better. It is better. Okay. So now you know. Now you know the rest of the story. We had a lovely day at a nearby country park. Ah, nice. Nice. Well, we didn't have very good weather here today, Ken. Not at all. No, it was very overcast. Perfect weather for pottery, I must tell you. Yeah, I didn't come out the garage. I put the heating on, put my socks on and my Ugg boots, and then I sat out there for hours glazing. And this isn't my favorite part of the process. My favorite part of the process is the building, but it's a necessary part of the process. So just get on with it and enjoy it. And so what I did was I listened to Grace's latest book. It's about Robin Hood. Brilliant. Really good. Really good. And she's playing all the parts. Absolutely fabulous. Have I told you about the Robin Hood one? Right. Do you want to know what it's called, so that if you're an Audible listener, you can. Right. It's called The Traitor of Sherwood Forest by Amy S. Kaufman. Kaufman, like the German, Kaufman. She's Canadian, I think. Amy Kaufman, and it's called The Traitor of Sherwood Forest. And Gracie, our Grace, is doing the reading, and she's absolutely banging, absolutely brilliant. So it was really good. It's like spending the day in my little world with my daughter. She's reading me a story. It was great. Yeah, so I've had the best day actually. And then Dave came in from work at lunchtime, and he was at the other end of the garage, and he was making the wooden plinths for my little birds that I was glazing up the other end. Well, I actually wasn't glazing them. I haven't got to that yet. There's another part of the process, and you potters will be aware of it. You have to wax your bottoms first. So I had to wax 52 bottoms. Shall I show you what I mean? Look, hang on, let's just put that there. Right, I brought some up to show you because I thought it's good to know, right? So that when you come to the open days, you'll know just how much went into these. Let me put this up there so I don't spill it. Okay, so last week I showed you the finished raku birds. Yeah. Right, so the finished raku birds, these were these ones, weren't they? So I've only managed, I still haven't got, we haven't had another raku session since. We're still recovering from that one. But do you remember, so see the bottoms are black, aren't they? There. So where you do the black, where it's black, that's where you waxed it. Wherever you put, you see, it's very close to what we do, isn't it, really? Wherever you put the black, that means I've put some resist down so that the glaze won't take, you see? So the glaze only goes where there's no wax. See, so I must have gone a little bit heavy on the wax here, right, up the back of the owl. And then, well, so Dave, he's making these beautiful, look, the plinths. I know, brilliant. Right, so he's up the other end of the garage, making these wooden benches, and not benches, but like pieces of beautiful oak and yew, which are just gorgeous. And I'm up the other end making the waxing the bottoms. It's like, I suppose this is what retirement's like. Let me show you what I mean. So if you look here, I don't know if you can see it. If I hold it up close, can you see how it's quite shiny? It's difficult to see it really, but that bottom is waxed, right? And then the beak is waxed a little bit, but you have to, you can't overcook it. If I completely cover it in wax, see, the trouble is wax is transparent, so you can't see it either, which is a bit of a chore, right? So you have to really concentrate on what you're doing and bear in mind what you're doing, because if you overcook it, then you just end up with a blackbird, literally. So you can see here, it's waxed on the bottom and then up under the wings. So I've got all these different shapes as well, you see. So that's why we were doing the wrens and the robins, all about the W's. See, so that's a wren, I think, isn't it? Pair of wrens, look. I know. But their bottoms are waxed anyway. And then these ones, there's a different process. So these ones have had their bottoms waxed as well. Right, you can see that more. But I also put oxides on these, and they've already been back in the kiln. So these ones got oxides, but then I refired them to 1,000 degrees, and it stops the black coming off. See, so these owls have got the character, and then what I'm going to see is what happens if you do that and then you do raku. I want to know whether the oxide even shows. So there you go. That was our afternoon. Yeah, I like it. Oh, and then I want to show you, and then we'll get on with the colouring, all right? So this is like the best thing, I think, one of the best things I've made so far, ever, is this, right? Which I really like it. And it's a hand build, okay? And it's just it's black, and it's black inside, so it's waterproof. And then it's done with oxides. See, so you've got the Enso ring. I like this. So the way you get these marks here is before the clay is fired at all, you take the flat of a spoon and you burnish it, right? And where you burnish it, the oxide, you rough up the edge with a blade, with a razor blade, the edge, the clay, so that the rest of it is rough, right? So you've got your markings. And then where you don't want the oxides to take, you make it smooth. So where you burnish it with the flat of a spoon or anything, any metal kidney, yeah, it won't take. So that's how, when you fire it, it goes like that. But it goes in the kiln about 3 times. And what you can see here, you might see that it's glossy there. That's because that bit has got a clear glaze on it, you see. So the clear glaze, you just put it in particular areas where you've done an onlay like this. And then that way, that goes in again, you see. So now, so I thought, I made a couple of these last year for when I went to America for wedding gifts, you know, for Alex's parents and that. And I thought, right, I'm going to make some for the open days. So I've made five of them for the open days. I mean, we'll see if they all come out. But so today I'll show you what it looks like. So it's quite interesting when you think, right, this is also done with black. This is what it looks like before. Oh, don't put your finger in the glaze, Gray. Right, let me show you like this. And it's interesting to see. You've got to really keep the faith and trust the process, right? Because that is the same as that. You wouldn't think it, would you? Right? That's going to have the, well, we'll see, I'll tell you if it works or not. But the black matte glaze there, that looks like that, okay? And the clear glossy glaze looks like that, which is a bit of a relief really, because at least you can see what you're doing. You can see if you're getting the right spots. So, and then you've got to get rid of it along the bottom, right? I've got to go back in again with a razor blade. I need to get a little bit further away from the edge, because if it drips down and it sticks to the kiln, then that's the end of both the kiln shelf and the vase, okay? But I just thought it would be interesting for you to see, because this is what fascinates me when I'm watching on YouTube, to see the finish. But you very seldom on YouTube, you very seldom see what it looks like before the end, if you know what I mean. So there you go. Interesting, huh? I'll let you know. Let's make a mental note, because I've got 5 of these. This one that's got a slant at the front, that's the one I showed. And they all look like this, though. They've all got this pink effect. I know. If it comes out like that, I won't be happy. But I know it won't. When that gets fired now to 1225 degrees, this clay changes colour. And the oxides, which is the black stuff. See, I've already done it with the black oxides. I've already fired it once with the oxides in it. So the black in there, that gets blacker. That's the plan anyway. So we shall see. But it's a wonderful escape, you know. It's a wonderful, for me, it's a great distraction, you know. And do I need distraction? Absolutely I do. Do you need distraction? I bet you do. You know, let's not be shy. I mean, I'm done pretending that everything's always peachy, you know. Let's be honest. Let's get straight, you know. Of course, I've got a lot to be grateful for, as have you, I'm sure, you know. But that doesn't mean that life isn't a grind sometimes. That doesn't mean that it, you know, you could really do with a break occasionally. Don't you agree? Yeah. So for me to be able to, you know, my idea of a day off is to go in the garage. I know, crazy, hey? To go into the garage and get with my hands, you know. And I even, yeah. And listen to Grace's book. That was so nice, you know. It's just fun. Really a good book. Really good book. And I like Sherwood Forest and Nottingham. And it's got a bit of a spin on Robin Hood. He's not quite the hero that Henry VIII made him out to be. Apparently not. He was a bit of a rogue. Bit of a one for the girls. And Maid Marian was something that was romanticised. It was made up. I know. Walt Disney made her up. So that was quite interesting. Anywho, how are you? Come on, let's do some drawing. Good to have your company. Have you got your tickets for the open days? I know I sound like a stuck record, a broken record. I hope you come. It'll be good. It's getting close now. And I've been sorting out what I'm doing in my one-day workshop on the Sunday. If you've signed up for that, I think you'll have a good time. You know, normally we have 4 tables and we all do different things and it's all a little bit frenetic, isn't it? I thought about it this year and I thought, well, just because we always do that doesn't mean we always have to keep doing that. So this year, we're all going to travel gently and we're all going to work at the same pace and we're all going to have a jelly plate and I'm going to teach you a new trick, new tricks, yeah, on a gel plate. I think it'll be fun. So we're going to have a whole day just like being together rather than chasing around. So we'll all do several things, but all at the same time. Yeah, I like that. Jill's coming on Friday. Good to hear that. Yeah, so we've still got some, I think I've still got a couple of places on my workshop, and I know that Linda's also still got a few places on her workshop. So if you want to join us on the Sunday, then go to the website and I think there are still a few seats available on that. Tickets for the open days are 100% still available. Right, so let's get started. Should we do a little bit of drawing? All right, let's have a look. We're on the letter W, and we decided to do, the royal we decided to draw just sketchy pictures, all to do with W, and that way we can add to it. So what that does is, because you're doing little elements of a bigger picture like this on our 3.5 by 3.5 inch card, this stuff, what it means is that we've learnt how to do a tree. We did a wonky tree. We did you know, because you look at this and you say, well, trees not doesn't start with a W. Well, the way marker did, in my defense. The way marker did and the weeds did. And then the tree was a wonky tree, or you could call it a weeping willow if you wanted to, a willow tree, right? And then we went to the picket fence. Well, it's a white picket fence. That's what we did on, let me come in a bit closer. That's what we did on Monday, wasn't it? Picket fence, the white picket fence. I remember telling you about my friend in California. Right, so we did that on Monday. And then I thought, right, we're going to do the shack. We're actually, because the way marker leads to the shack. And then I thought, well, interestingly, I thought, well, let's do the old shed, and we're going to give it a corrugated roof. And you'll say, well, corrugated doesn't start with a W, does it? Yeah, but apparently, did you know that corrugated steel is also known as wriggly tin? Wriggly tin. I love that. Wriggly tin. So we're going to draw the shack this evening with a wriggly tin roof. And that begins with a W. You see, if you think about things long enough and you investigate things, you will find the answers if you look for them. Yes. So we're going to do a wriggly tin roof, and we're going to set it behind the white picket fence. And I did a little practice run on my wriggly tin before. Also, just so that you remember, we did do a robin. I know robins with an R, but we did a wren, didn't we? We did draw wrens and robins, and it was really nice to see the way that the smiles, the birds begin with a smile, and the wren was at a kind of a flat smile, and the robin was at a jaunty angle. But it's quite nice to see how the birds, if you're interested in that little exercise, we did that on Monday in the shack, didn't we? Which was great. Yeah. So now we're on to wriggly tin roofs. And if you kind of draw it like that, that's basically the kind of shape that you're looking for. Yeah. A wavy tin roof sounds good too. Thank you very much, Lynn. Good idea. So we're going to go like that, wavy tin, right? So what we'll do is let's do a scrap one first. We'll do one on here, and then we can put it behind our. Then we can put it behind it. Let's get the idea down first. So my thoughts on a wriggly tin roof or a wavy tin roof were to make it quite woo-wah, you know, like a little bit not not straight, all a little bit funky like that. So you take that one out of there and make it a little bit more, make the end bit a bit more. So I've got that going on now, like that, okay. But then I want to go up and down, right? So every other one is going to come down a bit, up, and then down a bit, up and down. If we do this, this one comes down, right? That one comes down, that goes up, that comes down, up, up. You've got to concentrate on this. This is worse than, right, that one comes down. Then we'll get our rubbers out in a minute. Yeah, there you go. There we are. And when you've done that, just to check, so that basically, if you look at it this way round, it's like that, right? Okay. So if we do that on this one, we can always, right, there we go, and that's the end. And then on this one, then it goes down there, up there, so it's going in the other direction. Be fun. I mean, listen, there are no experts in this building. I've certainly never. There you go. Cool, cool, cool. So then we'll get some depth going in a minute when we've done this. But I just wanted to show you, if you get the idea, then we can put it in situ, can't we? There. And then we'll get the shading going on it to make it look really 3D, okay? Our wriggly tin. Nice. Alrighty. Okay, so then we need to just take out the lines in the front bits, like that. Yeah? So otherwise it looks weird. So I've got the day off tomorrow as well. I know what's happening. Don't tell me I'm actually starting to get some balance in my life. I tell you what it was yesterday, right? To be honest, that really does take it out of me. That 3.5 hours. It's quite a. I love doing it. Don't get me wrong, but it does wipe me out afterwards. I'm no spring chicken. There you see. So it goes up and down, up and down. I think we almost ought to finish on one that's coming this way, like that. Otherwise, it looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Right, that's it. And then we can always get the shape in, bring it in a little bit, make it a bit funky, like that. Nice. Could even give it a weird little chimney thing, couldn't we? Do something like that. Yeah, so today I just had to step back a bit, that's all. And tomorrow I'm going to see my mum because I'm taking her shopping. Otherwise she never gets out of the house. So that's tomorrow's job. Not job, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. So there we are. So I've taken 2 days out of the office. That doesn't mean I didn't, get on the phone and orchestrate from where I sit. But tomorrow I'm going over to see my mum, spend some time with her, which would be nice. So I think the trick is to pace yourself. I think that's what we're saying, isn't it? Got to pace yourself a bit. Right, so that is a wavy tin roof or a wriggly tin roof on our shack. And then we can decide what we want to put in. We want to put windows in, woof for windows. What else can we do? We can do a for weather vane. Listen, look, we got lists. You gave us all these ideas. We got weeds. We got a watering can we can add. Windows. All right, we'll add the windows. We've got, well, wisteria, I wish. A wheelbarrow, that's something we could add. Water wheel, no, I don't think so, not today. Windmill, winding path is good. There you go, weather vane. Waffles, washing line, definitely. Washing line would be good. That'd take us straight back to, we could put some washing on a line. Oh, do you know, right, Monday, I've just had an idea. I've had a really good idea. On Monday, we've got a stencil and it's of a washing line. I know, what a weird thing to have a stencil of, but we've got a stencil of clothes on a washing line. And years ago, I did a gel print and I used the stencil over the top. And then I waited until I used texture paste through it. And when the texture paste started to set, I started to fold it, right? And crease it and stretch it so that when it dried, it had folds in it like this, okay, in the texture paste. And then I went over it with a black ink pad and it's really authentic. So on Monday, when we get together, I've got it hanging, it's framed in my hallway. So on Monday, when we get together, I will bring that piece of artwork and I'll show you, and we'll do a washing line and we'll copy the drawing of the little shirt and that on Monday together. We'll do a washing line. I really like that idea. And I could even schedule a TV show or a demo with that washing line stencil because it is so cool, you know, on a gel plate. That'd be a good idea. You might really enjoy that one. There's a groovy plate too with baby clothes. Yay. You know, so good. Wonky chimney I just saw too. Good idea. Now let's have a look. So we're going to add our funky house or our shack. There we go. There's the one that I did before. So we don't want to make it too big. It's not a double decker. It's not a 2-story, right? But we're going to make it here and we'll just put the roof in and then we'll decide. Right, so I'm going to go, just do it, Barbara. Like that, like that. There you go. That's it, sorted. And then it's going to be in there like so. I'm going to make it come like that. Maybe make the, yeah, that's it. And then the door, and we're going to make it quite where's it going to stop? About there. So yeah, so you got a little path, isn't it? Got a path like that. I might make the door, put the door over a bit so that the door's there. Makes the path a bit more interesting. Otherwise it looks too weird. There you go. That'd be good. Right. So I've got my door. Gives me room for a window. And a water butt. Hey? Right. So now I've got my, I think I want to go a bit funkier on my roof. Yeah. This will be really good, you know, when we go to just pen it. The difference when you pen it, it just looks so neat, right? So now we're going to go for, do we want to make it really tight or do we, I'm going to make it not too tight, but I want to make it a little bit more realistic than, let's have a look. Could be wooden as well, couldn't it? I mean, that'd be a hell of a roof, but there you go. It's got a bit of an angle on it now. That'll do. Just get rid of that and then we'll see if we need to add it at the end. Yes. Okay. Funky. Washing line would be really good. I'm going to put the washing line. See, this is the thing about the modular thing, because you think, hang on a minute, if we've got the house there and then we've got the tree there like that. Actually, I prefer this tree, that tree. And then we've got that. Where are we going to put the washing line? Well, I suggest we put the washing line over on this side. Haha, why not? That'd be fun. You could put it in there, but I'd prefer to put it here, don't you think? Don't spoil the tree. Now, where's my roof gone? Okay. So, up, down, up. Let's do this. Up, 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 up. That's it. That looks good enough for now. Right, so if that's gone up, then this is going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Sorted. No planning permission required. Hey? A weary wanderer. I love it. A weary wanderer. Sounds like it's cue for a song, that one, Lynn. There you go. So, now we've done a wriggly tin roof. That's it. That's a bit excessive. Right. There we go. Yeah, I must remember on Monday to take that artwork into work, because I'll do, because on Monday we'll do the shack from work, woofer work, and then in the afternoon, okay, right, heads up in the afternoon on Monday, because we've got something very, very special that we're launching, and it's for parchers and paper crafters, card makers, not just Pergamano people, not just groovy people, but it's for all of us really. And we've been waiting for these. We designed them. There's one of those things that we can't make, so we get them made elsewhere. So we got them made in China, and we've been waiting patiently for them to turn up. These people that we work with, these that have helped us make these things, are just so good, you know. And they were supposed to be delivered today, because we wanted them in time for the open days, which is brilliant. And then, of course, it's not the Chinese problem; it's the port problem. It's nothing to do with the Chinese. It's us. It's our lot. So they're not. So hopefully they'll be delivered tomorrow now rather than today. So we'll see. No big deal. I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. They'll either arrive or they won't. But once they're in the building, see, golden rule here: you never, ever sell something or promote something that you haven't got in the building and you haven't unpacked and checked. Many a company has fallen foul of that little trick, and it can really go wrong. So we've touched wood, we've never done that. You know, we only sell what we only promote what we've got in the building and what we've checked. So so it's a big surprise. I'm not going to burst the bubble on it, but I think you will be really impressed. And yeah, so fingers crossed that will be arriving tomorrow, which gives us a chance to put it through its paces over the weekend, and then we can launch it, introduce it to you on Monday afternoon. That's the trick. So on Monday morning, I'm going to try and do that. We'll do the washing line, and I'll show you that artwork, because I think you'll enjoy that. And if I can dig out the stencil, I might even do the demo of it. Why not? It wouldn't take long. And then in the afternoon, Paul and I are going to be showcasing, provided that it's perfect and exactly as we expect it to be, which I hope so, because it's cost a fortune. And then tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Paul and Louise are launching something very exciting, but that's very groovy specific, and Parchment Pergamano, you know, so all of you good folks who do parchment art will be really happy about that. So that's tomorrow at 10 o'clock. They're just going to do 10 o'clock. We're not going to worry about 2 o'clock. We're saving it for Monday because it didn't arrive in time. But that's okay. It is what it is. If there's one thing I've learned, it's not to sweat the small stuff. Right. Not to sweat the small stuff. There's way too much bigger stuff going on than that, isn't there? Right, there you go. So now we want to get a bit of shade going. So the shade is always going to be on the inside, isn't it? On the inside. So let's just make sure that we get the right. Let's just put a little bit of, it's every other one, isn't it? So it's the one that's dipping from the top. Let's just put a little bit of shade in just to establish the right shadow. So that looks a bit weird. Because that's a bit bigger than, do you see what I mean? But whatever, it doesn't matter. Right. That'll work. Yeah. So now let's get some shadow in that side as well. So, yeah. Good. There we are. I know I've gone quiet. Sorry, I'm shading. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we should get that lovely poster out again. It's going to be a gorgeous poster when it's done. Yeah. Right, let's have a look. Good. That works. Let's get a bit of shadow. And I'm just using, maybe use a bit of a darker pencil to get a bit more of a shade going here. See, as soon as you use a softer black, it works a bit, gives you a bit more depth, doesn't it? There you go, see? Interesting, isn't it, how another lead pencil can make such a difference. There we are. Just cover that in there like so. Get a bit of a shadow going in there. All depends where the light is, doesn't it, really? How are you doing, anyway? Are you okay? Yeah? I know, it's all a bit much, isn't it? I know. All I will say is, thank goodness for craft and art, eh? Keeps you sane, I know that. Does me. Keeps me happy as well. It's like, I don't know. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like something that you can sell or something that you have to get approval from somebody else. You know, I think we need to get over that as well. Because Facebook really does make us, you know, it's kind of trained us. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love seeing your artwork. I love to see, like yesterday when I saw what you were doing off the back of the workshop. It's such a, it feels so good to know that you enjoyed it that much and you're so happy with your artwork that you are prepared to post it, you know. That said, we post it in a community that you know is a very safe community, that Jane polices, that Grace, that's all she does. And of course, because she's in New York and she's 5 hours earlier than us, it means that in the evenings, if there is any, we're covered. By the time Jane and I and Sue from work, you know, we're done policing. Grace is still there for another 5 hours. So there's very little time, and we're all over it so that it's a safe, environment. And you know, don't you, when you go on Clarity Worldwide or Groovy Worldwide or Pergamano Worldwide or Barbara's page, or, you know, any of the Clarity pages or groups, the mini makes, you know, you know, it very seldom gets unpleasant or uncomfortable or ugly. We're on it, you know, we've got zero tolerance for any trolling or bullies or any unpleasantness. We go there to be creative and share our art and keep each other company. You know, that's what we do, and it's very important. And so, but on the other hand, there's always this feeling of, you know, if you post something and nobody likes it. See, in our groups, I have to say that will seldom happen. You know, there's always going to be somebody giving you the thumbs up and saying it's brilliant, you know, because in the main it is, you know, and people are so attentive, and there is this kind of mutual respect and support system. It's a support, isn't it? But I do know that there are other art areas, let's say, not necessarily Clarity, where people are quite ugly about, you know, quite unkind. We don't do unkind, so it's not an issue for us. But I do know that several people, creative people, have been badly affected, adversely affected by unpleasantness online. You know, I mean, you know this. So we go to great lengths to make sure that that doesn't happen to you in our groups. I've been at the receiving end of ugliness, and it doesn't feel good, and it sets you back, you know, because you question your ability, or you question your, you know, your worth. And I think what we have to do is get to a point where we say, it doesn't really matter what other people think of my art. I don't need your approval. I am comfortable in my own interpretation of my art. I'm going to show it to you. If you like it, great. And if you can benefit from it, even better. But your opinion of it, I'm just saying, I have to learn that your opinion of my art mustn't affect my confidence. Do you see what I'm getting at? And or my willingness to continue being creative. And I'm not talking about me necessarily. I'm on that path myself now, where I have to enjoy, I have to get joy out of what I'm doing and not worry about being judged. You remember we said in the SHAC for years, didn't we? There are no judges in this building. There are no judges. Do you remember? We said it again and again and again. You know, we're our own worst critics, so we don't need anyone else criticizing us. That's my thought on that one. And I think that, you know, we're super sensitive, and nobody relishes criticism. I've never met anybody that, you know, I know people say, yeah, I don't care what you think. Well, I do, you know, but I know that I mustn't allow people's opinions to, you know, if you said to me, my pottery was rubbish, would I then stop doing pottery? Do you see what I'm getting at? And you know what I'm saying? I know people that are told they couldn't sing, and then they never sang again. You know, so who's telling them they can't sing? You know, do you see what I'm getting at? People ought to be very careful before they give an opinion. If you can't think of anything positive, say best say nothing, because you don't know how it's going to be received. That's what I'm getting at. You know, and I'm no expert on this stuff, but I do know how it feels to be at the receiving end of criticism. And, you know, we all have to whilst we know that that's what happens, you know, it's like being, it's like being slapped, isn't it, when somebody says something unkind about or negative about your work or about you. But I think we're getting to an age now where we have to be comfortable enough with who we are and what we do to not let it kill us. Do you know what I mean? Like absolutely mortify us, because it does me, you know, and I you know, I'm just being honest. That's how I've always been like that. And I guess we have to try not to let our lives be governed by other people's opinions of us. Does that make sense? That's a bit of a stretch, but you know what I'm getting at now. You know, if this makes you happy, then get on with it. That's what I mean, you know? And if it's not perfect, I still loved the process, you know? There was I listened to somebody earlier, and she was on like a podcast, and she said, you know, maybe this is where this has come from, because she said, if your work doesn't sell, does that mean you're not a real artist? And I thought, well, no, not at all. Not at all. But I can see where that thought is. And then she said, Vincent van Gogh, right, while he was alive, to make her point, she said he only actually sold one piece in his entire life. And I thought, wow, that tells you everything you need to know, you know. So her argument was, when you're making your art, you know, and it's not selling, let's say, that doesn't mean it's not good. It just means it's not selling. You see, stick with the facts. Doesn't mean it's not good. It just means it's not selling. Vincent van Gogh is probably one of the most iconic, famous artists the world has ever known. He sold one piece in his lifetime. It's quite something, really, that, isn't it? So, you know, and I can go into art galleries sometimes, and there's nothing there that appeals to me. You know, art is so subjective, isn't it? You see. So art for art's sake, I say, art for art's sake, you know. And opinions, they're like noses. Everybody's got one. Everybody's got one, you know. Let's just agree that in the Clarity community, we keep each other company and we support each other, you know, because I think that it's more important now than it has been in my lifetime to have my art, really, you know. So we're doodling this roof on this wonky house, right? And we've done a bit of, yeah, and I feel that we've had a good, right? So what we ought to try and do, Barbara, is try and make this look like metallic, which with a pencil is doable. So we're just going to, now on the top ones, just do a little light. It needs a little tiny bit of lightness on the top as well, otherwise it looks too weird. Let's take that on. Yeah. So forgive me if I suddenly went off on one there. But that's what happens when you spend your day alone, you know. That's what happens when you spend your day alone in your head with your thoughts. And they're not bad thoughts. Goodness, Not at all, you know? Not even a little bit. No. But I do think that some of us are so self-deprecating. We underestimate our skills, you know? That's why it's important to stick together, isn't it? That looks quite good, actually. And what are you doing this evening? I'm tempted to go and keep waxing bottoms, but I think I've just about had enough. I think Dave will abandon it. Let's have a look. There, this looks nice. There you go. See? And so we've got a windows we need to add as well. Well, 1 window, 2 windows. What do you think? I say we add 1 window will do, hey? 1 window will do, and then we'll put something else there. Aren't we lucky that we can do this together, really? I think so. I think so. There, 2 panes. 2's good. Window box would be good. Mind you, would you have a window box on an old shed? Well, if I weren't so busy doing pottery, I'd really get into this at the weekend. But I've really got to get on with the pottery because I have a target. I want to do these birds, these raku birds, before we meet at the open days. I've got to do these. I've got to do some more raku birds because I've only done 4. I've taken orders for that many, and I've only done them. So, but they are provisional orders based on the success rate of the firing process. Jane says she's put the mid-month challenge on the mini makes page. Mid-month challenge on the mini makes page. Brilliant. That reminds me, I've got to do my mini makes challenge at all yet. I haven't done mine yet. Do you think there'd be a little bit of shadow under there? I do. I think there'd be a bit of shadow under there as well, don't you? And a bit of shadow here. It's a bit of a hovel, this, isn't it? Hey? I'll leave that open because I haven't decided what to put there. And are we doing an open door or are we doing a closed door? Well, jury's out. Jury's out on that one. Oh, let's close it. There you go. Closed door, sorted. And has it got a step? Yes, it has. Go. A little step. You imagine you've got a pencil in your hand, right? Think of it like this. We take this so for granted, right? Should we have a little bit of a wonky, like Nicholas said, a little wonky chimney or something? This is so, take this for granted, right? So we go like this and we put a little chimney up there and we just take it for granted that we can draw it, right? That looks a bit weird, but you understand what I'm saying. And we say we could draw a window, we could draw a door, draw a white picket fence, and we could put a little weather vane in. Let's do a weather vane, right? Just the fact that we could just do this with there's no question that we can do this. You just do it, north, south, there you go, east, west. Little weather vane. I mean, that's quite, you know, do you understand what I mean? Just the fact that you can take a pencil in your hand and you can get a piece of paper, and then in your head you can say, right, I'm going to draw this, and it works, and I'm going to draw that, and I'm, you know, step away from the plate for a moment and consider that. Apart from the fact that you've got the luxury of having a place and a pencil and you know that, but the ability as well that you can do that. Yeah, that's quite something to consider, you know. Just something, just food for thought, isn't it? That you could do that and relax and do it, you know. I'll tell you what would be brilliant is when we get this done, right, and we then pen it and we get the black pen on it. We will get there eventually. I think if we work on Monday and we do the washing line, then I reckon, you know, maybe at the weekend, if you get a chance, add a few more little bits to your picture if you're doing it. And then we'll pen it. We'll pen it on Thursday. This time next week, we're penning. Okay. Yes, we are. I think that's a good idea. Nice. So, yeah, I've got two trees. I've got 2 cottages. I've got 2 way markers. I've got wrens. I've got robins. I've got plenty to be getting on with. And I think that's enough for today. It was great to have your company. And pencils are amazing things. Pencils combined with hands and brains are even more amazing things, you know. So, and I think what's lovely is that you don't need lots of gear. You know, you just need a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, and that's what I think as well. Comparison. Don't compare. Try not to compare your art with other people's. You know, because I do that, and it robs you of your joy. You know, as soon as I compare my art with somebody else's, then, well, it depends, I suppose. But you understand what I mean. Comparison is the robber of joy. You know, just be happy with your art and just, yeah, be glad that you can do it. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. So I will see you, let me see, tomorrow, 10 o'clock is Paul and Louise are going to launch something very special at 10. And then on Monday at 10 o'clock, washing line. Yeah, we'll do the washing line. And I'll dig out that stencil art and see if I can do it. See if it will work a second time. If not, I can tell you how it worked the first time. Other than that, lovely to spend an hour with you, and have a lovely evening. I think the weather's going to be super this weekend. Think of me and Dave. We're going to be doing those raku birds. We're going to have another episode of that. Yeah. So hopefully that will go well. And I'll see you next week. Jane, thanks for your help. All the best to you. Good to have your company. Bye-bye now. Bye.